Hello and welcome to this video on elementary row operations. There are three kinds of elementary matrix operations. You could exchange any two rows, and you could multiply each element in a row by non-zero number, and you can replace a row by the sum of that row of non-zero multiple of any other row. And all these three operations does not affect the solution to the system of equation. And why do we need to do this elementary row operation? If you remember from previous video, we need to have a matrix, augmented matrix, in a row echelon form, meaning I need a 1 here and 0 below it, and some numbers, but I need a 1 here, some 0 below it, maybe 1 here, and these are maybe other numbers here. That could be some other coefficients. And once we have this, we could use back substitution to solve the system of equation. That's the goal. So let's write this matrix here in a row echelon form using this elementary row operations. So the first thing here, I need the 1 up at the top. At the first row, and leading coefficient must be 1. So to do that, I see I already have a 1 here. So let me rewrite the augmented matrix. This must be some augmented matrix to some system of equations with 3 equations and 3 unknowns. It is 3 unknowns, even though these are the unknowns, and this is the coefficient matrix. So here I wrote this augmented matrix. Now we use this procedure to write the matrix in a row echelon form, and we begin by exchanging row 1 with row 2. So I'm going to say R1, this is the symbolic of the operation, move to exchange with R2. So whatever I'm exchanging, I'm going to write it with a different color at this step here. So I'm going to put 1 minus 5, basically I did this, 2, 0, and minus 3, 13, minus 1, minus 7. These were the changes I've made so far for this step. And I have 5 minus 20, minus 2, and 5. So I'm allowed to do exchange 2 rows. And so the next thing I'm gonna do is change the remaining element in the first column with 0. So what I want is, I need a 0 here and a 0 here. And so to do that, I see that I can, if I have 3 minus 3, I will get 0. So I'll take 3 multiplied by row 1, and I'm gonna add it to row 2, and I'm writing it next to row 2. That means this operation gonna replace row 2. And the next thing I'm gonna do, minus 5 R1 plus R3. Why? Because minus 5 times 1 is minus 5. If I add it to 5, it will be 0 here, and that's gonna be my new R3. And I will do the same for the other element in the matrix. So by doing this, we get this new operation. So whatever I'm changing, I'm gonna write it in different colors. So I get a 0, and I have because 3 minus 3 is 0, and then 3 times minus 5 is minus 15, plus 13 is 2, and then I have 3 times 2 is 6, 6 minus 1 is 5, and I have 3 times 0 is just 0, 0 minus 7, and minus 7. And for the third row, we have minus 5 times 1 is 5, 5 plus 5 is, minus 5 plus 5 is 0, minus 5 times minus 5 is 25, 25 minus 20 is 5, and then minus 5 times 2 is 10, negative 10, and minus 2, positive minus 2 is minus 12. Minus 5 and times 0 is just 0, and 0 plus 5 is just 5. So here what we did is we received this 0 and 0. So we are getting toward having 1 0 0, and then the next step we put 1 0 and then 1 here. And this can be some numbers, and because this is the goal, this is the big picture that we're trying to follow. Once we get here, this is in row echelon form, which means we're going to use back substitution and solve the system. So I'll continue here, and so again what I want is I need a 1 in here, need 1. And to do that, if I take this row 2 divided by 2, so 2 over 2 is 1. So now I received my new row. So it will be 0, 1, minus 5 halves, minus 7 halves. And the rest I did not change for at this step here. I leave them in red. So and again I need a 0. I need a 0 here. So instead of 5, can I make it a 0 by some of the elementary row operations that I'm allowed to do? I can take negative 5 times row 2 and add it to row 3, and that will give me, in this last one here, will be 0, 0, a half, negative 25 and a half, and then we'll have a 1 minus 5 to 0. I'm just recopying the rest of the numbers. So we're getting there. So now I'm in this step that I want just this number here to be 1. And so to do that, if I take this row here and I multiply it by 2, so if I do 2 times row 3, and I will have this new 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 1/2 is 1, 2 times negative 25 over 2 is minus 25. And I'm gonna recopy the rest as 1 minus 5 to 0, and 0, 1 minus, missed the 2. Let me write them nicely. And so we'll have a negative 5 over 2 and negative 7 over 2. And now this is row echelon form. So I used elementary row operations to get to this point here. And the elementary row operations I use is this. I exchange rows. I multiply coefficients and then add it to the second row. And I could multiply coefficients to the row. So I'm allowed to do this. These 3 operations help us get into the row echelon form, which eventually will help us solve a system of equation. And I hope this video is helpful.